Alaska is the largest U.S. state, yet it has one of the smallest agricultural industries. But recently, more Alaskans are farming than ever before, which is helping to meet the need for supplying locally sourced food. In fact, Alaska has the highest rate of new and beginning farmers in the United States. Hello viewers, today we will share with you how farmers harvest over 88,300 acres of farmland in Alaska. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. Animal farming. Raising reindeer in Alaska is a unique and culturally significant practice that combines traditional husbandry techniques with modern methods. Reindeer farmers carefully manage breeding to maintain healthy populations and genetic diversity. Breeding occurs in the fall, and females, known as cows, give birth to calves in the spring. Calving is a critical period, and farmers often monitor pregnant cows closely to ensure they have a safe and stress-free environment to give birth. Reindeer are grazers, and pasture management is essential for their well-being. Farmers provide ample access to natural forage during the summer months, when vegetation is abundant. They may also supplement their diet with high-quality hay or other feed during the winter when grazing is limited due to snow cover. Herd movement is an integral part of reindeer farming. Reindeer are semi-nomadic animals that instinctively migrate in search of food. Farmers often employ rotational grazing practices, moving the herd between different grazing areas to prevent overgrazing and ensure the sustainable use of resources. Alaska also raises bison, also referred to as buffalo. According to ranchers, the biggest challenge faced with maintaining the animals is providing water during the winter, so the ranchers brave the frigid temperatures all winter, chipping ice, hauling water, and ensuring that the many drinking tanks on the property remain filled. The logistics surrounding feed are less of an issue than water. The bison at the ranch graze on pasture during the snow-free months, eating grasses, sedges, fireweed, and other early successional plants. In the winter, the bison are provided with locally grown hay. Not only is the grass-fed diet best for bison, it also equates to benefits for the consumer and the environment. Grass-fed bison meat is lower in fat, calories, and cholesterol than traditionally raised domestic meats. And by being allowed to forage on grass and hay instead of being fed grain, the bison remain healthy. Wait, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated. Vegetable farming. Contributing a net value of over $3 million to the state's economy annually, potatoes are one of the most valuable crops grown in Alaska. Planting usually begins in the middle of May, when the day length reaches about 17 hours, and the growing season continues through September. The continuous sunlight during the summer creates favorable conditions for crop production, particularly in the Matanuska Valley, where the sun barely falls below the horizon from mid-May to mid-August. Common potato varieties grown in the state include Yukon Gold, Russet Norcota, and Green Mountain. Producing cabbage, carrots, and lettuce in Alaska profitably also requires considerable cropping experience, biological knowledge, and exceptional managerial skills, as subarctic environmental conditions can be limiting. Planting and transplanting begins in mid-May, with the day length reaching nearly 17 hours and fallow soil temperature at 4 inches approaching 45 degrees Fahrenheit. First plantings are usually completed by the first week in June. Carrots are usually planted into beds, utilizing multiple rows or combinations of multiple rows, from 6 to 12 rows per bed. Seeding rates vary considerably depending on desired end product. Carrot seeding rates of 250,000 to 1 million per acre are common. 3 types of lettuce are commonly transplanted: leaf, head, and romaine. Leaf lettuce is generally planted on a weekly basis for up to 12 weeks, while head and romaine lettuces are planted weekly for up to 10 weeks. Both red and green cabbages are grown, with approximately 85% of the cabbage crop planted to green varieties. Direct seeding results in damping off problems of young seedlings for many growers. The transplanting of 2.5 to 3 inch tall cabbage plants is utilized to alleviate this seedling disease problem. Salmon fishing. Alaska is one of the world's largest and most sustainable commercial salmon fisheries. Annually, the region produces hundreds of millions of fish and employs more than 15,000 fishermen. The bulk of the commercial salmon season takes place in the summer months, typically between June 1st and September 15, Sunday through Wednesday every week. After the summer, the winter season begins in October and is fished until the quota is met. This tends to be in late November. There are 3 ways to fish for salmon commercially in Alaska. Each one is tailored to the area a boat is currently operating in and is adapted to the type of fish the boat is targeting. Number 1. Gill netting. Gill netting is a type of fishing where the fisherman sets a net anywhere from 200 to 300 fathoms. The size of the net's meshing is set by the Alaska Fish and Game Commissioner. On the water, the fishermen stretch the net out tight and let it drift with the current, waiting for salmon to swim into it and get tangled up. Once the captain determines that the net is full, the fisherman hauls the net in and free the fish from it before sorting and transferring them into the ice holds. Gill netting is the most common fishing technique that is used to commercially harvest Alaskan salmon. It's mostly used in the wider Bristol Bay area for catching king, coho, chum, and sockeye salmon. Number 2. Seining. Seining is a technique that requires 2 boats, one large and one small. The smaller boat pulls the net from the larger boat and into the shape of a large circle. Both ends of the net are then attached to a crane on the larger boat, which then hoists the net out of the water, trapping all the fish inside. Finally, the fish are sorted and placed into the ice holds, and all bycatch is returned to the water. Seining is most effective at the beginning of the season, where there are large, concentrated amounts of salmon that can be rounded up and caught fairly easily and swiftly. Number 3. Trolling. Trolling is typically done in the wintertime, and most commonly targets king and coho salmon. Trolling consists of 4 to 6 rods, with lures being pulled behind the boat at a relatively slow speed. Once a fish is hooked, the fisherman will reel in the fish and determine if it is worth keeping. This technique is used among recreational fishermen as well. During winter, it has been observed that the big king and soho schools easily spook and shy away from the big nets, which is why commercial boats have adapted a common rod and reel approach to catch them more effectively. Salmon are considered money fish, such as king, coho, and select sockeye are gutted and bled as soon as they're caught to preserve their high-quality meat. Pink and chum salmon are put into the ice holds whole until a tender boat arrives for offloading. Seaweed farming. Alaska presents an ideal location for the seaweed farming industry, as it has the longest coastline in the United States and more than 500 species of seaweed. Sugar, ribbon, and bull kelp are the most farmed species of seaweed in Alaska, though interest in species like black seaweed is increasing. Kelp farms require regular visitation and observation by farmers. Protected bays and inlets are preferred areas for kelp farmers because of ease of access. However, there are additional site location factors that may need to be considered to support kelp biology, e.g. increased water flow and high nutrients. To begin a kelp farm, mature kelp with reproductive tissue, also known as sorus, are collected from the wild within 50 miles of the farm and transported to a kelp hatchery. At the hatchery, the reproductive tissues are encouraged to release spores. Eventually, these spores grow into kelp seed on spools of nylon twine. Farmers then wrap the seed twine around lines that are placed about 10 feet underwater at the farm site. Seed out usually occurs during October through November. Some kelp can grow up to 15 feet long by the time of harvest in April through June. Since the growth cycle of Alaskan seaweed is from fall to spring, seaweed farming is compatible with seasonal fishery employment and provides an opportunity for year-round employment to seasonal employees. Seaweeds are used in several products, including food products, hot sauce, roasted kelp snacks, and pickles, soaps and lotions, food colorants, gelling and thickening agents, organic fertilizers, soil amendments, bioplastics, and other bioextracts. So that brings us to the end of our video, and until next time, take care and goodbye.